Hi, good morning. So welcome back to the session again. So in the previous session we talked about Vandana Shiva's essay. So we're going to continue from there where we stopped. So today we're going to talk about rights of nature on the global stage. First time where there was a conference held in Ecuador, and how they talked about rights of nature, and also they've included that first country to include in the constitution the rights of nature. That's what we're going to talk about. Let's say when the nature is a teacher, we co-create with her. We recognize her agency and her rights. So that is why it is significant that Ecuador has recognized the rights of nature in its constitution. So you have to remember this, the place and what they have included in their constitution. Its rights of nature as recognized. That was held in 2011. So this you will have to underline and make a note of it, because this could be asked for one more question. The country and where it was held and which year. It's 2011. So this is the first time where the country has included in their own constitution how we have constitutional rights. So they have included the rights of nature as well, because we have rights of human rights. So but in our Indian constitution doesn't have the rights for the nature in our constitution, but Ecuador is the first time on the global stage it has included the rights of nature in 2011. The United Nations General Assembly, inspired by the Constitution of Ecuador and the Universal Declaration of Rights of Mother Earth initiated by Bolivia. By inspiring this, even Bolivia as a country has initiated the rights of Mother Earth. Organized a conference on harmony with nature as part of Earth Day celebration. So we do celebrate Earth Day once a year. So they have actually recognized the conference held about the harmony of nature as part of Earth Day celebration. So slowly these countries, inspiring by the initiative taken by Ecuador, the rights of nature, so slowly they have added this one. So much of the discussion is centered on ways to transfer systems based on domination of people over nature, men over women and rich over poor, into the systems based on partnership. So this has been, being a patriarchal society, we know how one dominates over the strong dominates over the weak, men dominate women, rich dominate over poor, how humans also dominate over nature. So in the conference that was held in Bolivia, so these are the important points that discussed how everything has to work in partnership, only then we'll be able to achieve harmony. So that is what they have discussed in the conference. So remember these points, okay? Now, the UN Secretary General's report, Harmony with the Nature. So this is a report UN Secretary had made, Harmony with the Nature, issued in conjunction with the conference, elaborates on the importance of reconnecting with nature. Ultimately, environmentally destructive behavior is the result of failure of recognize that human beings are an inseparable part of nature and that we cannot damage it without severely damaging ourselves. So how the UN Secretary report says humans are not distinctive part of the nature, but they're very much inseparable, because one cannot live without another one. So if humans are go on destroying the nature, it means ultimately they are going to destroy themselves. So that is what they have highlighted in this report, harmony with the nature. To achieve this harmony, you will have to work in partnership. You will have to work together where the rights and freedom for each species is equal. So that is how they have highlighted in the conference and in the report. So this is about the rights of nature on the global stage. This is the first time where they've talked about this significantly on the global stage. These conferences did highlight and emphasize. So also one more thing I want to highlight, how it elaborates on the importance of reconnecting with nature. If you fail to reconnect with the nature, and we are all going to destroy each other, one day everything has to be destroyed, because that's important of reconnection. So that has to be again emphasized. That's what the report, UN Secretary report, talks about. So these are all important phrases, details, the year, these highlighted words has to be kept in mind, because you never know, it could be asked for fill in the blanks, 1 mark question anytime. So that's why it's very important. We will have to read. This is kind of an essay. This is not like a story or anything. Okay, remember these points. Okay, we will clarify more if you do not understand any of the particular point when we meet. So continuing from it. So separatism is indeed at the root of disharmony with the nature and violent against nature and people. This is important. If you go back to history, even for centuries, so what divides people is the separatism. So, and based on anything, based on racial discrimination, religious discrimination, it could be caste, creed, anything you take, separatism is the root cause for all the disharmony, all the conflict, all the hostility, hatred, everything is because of the separatism. So what they're saying is you will have to remove that separatism to live in harmony, because that is where we need to work on at the root level. What is the reason? What is the reason for this hostility or conflicts? That's where you need to remove the separatism. So now what we also, in the context of nature, what we do is humans are on top of the pyramid and where nature has been dominated. So you separate nature and human. So that separatism has to be removed. Only then you are able to reconnect with nature and work in harmony. So that is what the separatism is talking about. As a prominent South African environmentalist, Cormac Cullinan, remember this name also, a South African environment. The moment we hear the word like African, what comes into our mind first thing is the racism, right? The word, it was coined apartheid. Apartheid means the difference between the black and white races. Okay, that is the term coined by Cormac Cullinan. Points out apartheid means separateness. So we have heard this term before, right? In the previous year we have heard apartheid. It's a difference, separateness between white and black. Yeah, how Europeans dominated over black races and the oppressed them. You know, the horrific incident we did discuss in the couple of chapters in the even Gentlemen of the Jungle, if you remember, and also Frederick Douglass. So we remembered how they were oppressed by the white races, right? And just based on the race, the whole world joined the anti-apartheid movement to end the violent separation of people on the basis of color. So we know the movement started, many people have joined the movement, and finally they were able to abolish the racist. There was a bill passed against the racism, right? So it was again Abraham Lincoln where they abolished this racist thing. The world joined apartheid movement. So they started apartheid movement, and to stop the violent separation of people on the basis of color. Apartheid in South Africa was put behind us. Today we need to overcome the wider and deeper apartheid and eco-apartheid based on the illusion of separateness of human from nature in our minds and lives. So this has been strongly rooted in our mind, the separateness between human and nature. That has to be removed. The initiative has to be taken. Again, what white have done to black, the same thing we as a human are doing to the nature. We are oppressing nature, we are destroying nature, we abuse the nature, we take it for granted, and the result of it today, it is not very favorable. If you see like a lot of disharmony, and once you know what happens when the nature is in aggressive mode, so nothing can stop us. You know, no race can stand still and go against nature, right? So that is where it's very important to end this. So we need to whatever the mindset that we have, it has to be wider and deepen to understand the eco-apartheid term. Eco-apartheid term is to end the separateness of nature and human. So we have to work together to bring that harmony and to have an equal space and rights for all the species. So that's called biodiversity again, right? That is what they are talking about, the anti-apartheid or eco-apartheid. So remember these terms. It was coined by Cormac Cullinan. okay, to end the separatism. Okay, it has started, and also they have been able to end that apartheid, the blacks races versus today. There is a very popular movement to the going on, Blacks Lives Matter in America. So no matter how many centuries we have come across and ended this, but still it is quite prevalent. We see how many blacks people, even white people, have come together to protest against the recent incident that took place where the black man was killed by the white police, right? So this has to end. So if at least there are people who raise voice against it as a nature which we cannot, but we have to work together to preserve and save the nature today. That's why eco-apartheid, it has to be a very important term to end the separateness of human nature in our minds. It is there in our minds, right? Out of greediness, how we have been abusing the nature, that has to end. Now, dead earth worldview. So now we talk about what is dead earth and how humans have been treating earth and nature as just raw material and nothing else. So that is what we are going to talk about. The war against the earth began with this idea of separateness. That is where all the conflict, that's the root cause of all the disharmony, conflicts, everything started. Even they call it war, started. Its contemporary seeds were sown when the living earth was transformed into dead matter to facilitate the industrial revolution. So now what they've started taking advantage, started abusing, started destroying the nature when the industrial revolution taken place, because then you started taking all the resources from the nature to build your industry and to make profit. Your greed has no bounds. So that is when this war started. Then slowly all the nature started being used. You dig the mother earth to take all the resources. See, that is when it all taken place. You treated earth as just dead matter. You just for the sake of profit and to fulfill your greed is what you turned mother earth into a dead matter. So that has to end. Now facilitate all this happened because to help industrial revolution. In the name of industrial revolution, then the name of globalization, this is what happened. All right, we started abusing so much. The mother earth has become dead matter. You never treated it. It has to be preserved. It has to be saved. It has to have given equal rights and space. But humans' greeds had no bounds. Now monoculture replaced diversity. Again, there was no diversity, the concept of diversity. Then human became the center of the system, and he started dominating over the mother earth. It started dominating and started oppressing and all that. Yeah, that monoculture, that's a monoculture where the significant importance given to one species, that's human, and the other species is never taken into account. Raw materials and dead matter replaced vibrant earth. Yeah, terra nullius, the empty land ready for occupation regardless of the presence of indigenous people, replaced mother earth. That's a term we call terra madre, a French word. How the mother earth, the vibrant earth, has been replaced to fulfill humans' greed. Humans started destroying everything just because of the raw material, and you treated it as a dead matter. So that is. And also, regardless of occupation of the presence of even indigenous people were oppressed, they have been driven away. Those are the ones who are actually indigenous people, the tribes who were living in those forests were saving they understood the importance of nature and the trees and plants, but human greed has taken over and they've driven away, and all the disharmony caused because of the raw material and everything. Okay, continuing. This philosophy goes back to Francis Bacon, called the father of modern science. Again, remember the name Francis Bacon, the father of modern science, is the father of who said that science and the invention that result do not merely exert a gentle guidance over nature's course, they have the power to conquer, subdue her, to shake her to her foundation. So far, whatever the technical innovations, scientific innovations, in one or the other way have caused a huge damage to our Mother Earth and the nature, without which they couldn't achieve their invention. So it has pros and cons also. Today we do talk about and glorify the scientific inventions. In the other side, the damage that is caused due to that, it is so humongous, so huge, that has a negative effect on nature and the Mother Earth, right? Today if you look at the disruption by the nature that is caused, it is due to all this. Today you frequent earthquake because you've dug for all the gold and all the commodity that you wanted to take, and what happened due to which. So that is why it would have a negative reaction towards the humanity and human race. So that is what he says. Whatever the scientific invention, they conquer, they have the power to conquer, subdue. Because for example, nuclear bomb, how much it had affected the nature during the war between Japan and America, and to revive to be normal stage, it took so many years, because when one side we talk about technical and scientific innovations, the other side the negative effects of nature, right, on the nature. The philosopher and the historian Caroline Merchant points out the shift of perspective from nature as a living and nurturing mother to inert, dead and manipulable matter was well suited to the activities that would lead to capitalism. Again, the root cause they are talking about, due to the capitalism, due to the industrial revolution. So they have turned Mother Earth as a living thing to dead matter, and you start manipulating her without any limits. It's limitlessly manipulated just to make sure to reinforce the idea of capitalism. So that is what matter was well suited to activities lead to capitalism. The domination images created by Bacon. So this was again very, very effectively created images. So now we see there are images, pictures. We see how Mother Earth is being manipulated, being destroyed. So we see pictures. So he also created a powerful images of Bacon, created by Bacon, and other leaders of the scientific revolution replaced those of nurturing earth, removing a cultural constraints of the exploitation of nature. Okay, so he vividly, very clearly, very picturesquely, he created an image how nature is being exploited because of the industrial revolution and scientific inventions. One does not readily slay a mother, dig into her entrails for gold and mutilate her body. So without achieving the idea of capitalism, or due to reinforce or support the industrial revolution. So one cannot look at the description. It's very, very clearly picturesque. If you just imagine how you just dig your Mother Earth for gold and silver and mutilate, you cut her means again you destroy the trees and plants and everything to achieve and mutilate her body. It's a personification, right? You giving a human quality to Mother Earth, and how would you like to would you like to damage your mother body? And you mutilate her. Mutilate means damage, cut her hands and legs because you want to achieve whatever you wanted to achieve out of greediness. So that is what he talks about. You dig into her entrails for gold and mutilate her body. Look at how powerful description, how effective it is. And he created such images to express his grief of whatever the exploitation that is taking place. So now, what nature teaches, okay? Today, at a time of multiple crisis intensified globalization, we need to move away from the paradigm of nature as a dead matter. We need to move to an ecological paradigm. And for this, the best teacher is nature herself. This is again important. There has to be a shift in the paradigm. We need to move from human-centric to ecological-centric. So we need to understand the importance of ecology and the Mother Earth. Only by shifting that paradigm, the whole mindset will be able to sustain and survive and live in harmony. That's what he's saying. We need to stop treating her as a dead matter or raw material. We have to treat her like a living being. Okay, only then we will be able to. To teach this, who's the best teacher? He calls it nature herself. The Mother Earth herself is the best teacher herself. Let's see what philosophy is going to talk about. Now, the Earth University teaches Earth democracy. Okay, so remember this term, Earth University teaches Earth democracy, yeah, which is the freedom for all species to evolve within the web of life. So we will discuss where Earth University Vandana Shiva started in her Navadanya form, and how the whole idea of this is equal freedom and rights and for all the species within the web of life, and the freedom and responsibility of humans. So we are all responsible to achieve this Earth democracy and Earth University. As a member of the Earth family, to recognize, protect and respect the rights of other species. Earth democracy is shift from anthropocentrism to ecocentrism. And since we all depend on Earth democracy translates into human rights to food and water, to freedom from hunger and the thirst. So this is what we are talking about, how it is important the paradigm shift has to take place from anthropocentrism. Anthropocentrism in the system, man is in the center and everything works around him. That has to stop. We have to put the nature as the center of the system, and everybody has to work responsibly to protect for all the freedom and the rights. So that is, the shift has to take place. The man cannot be in the center. Nature has to be in the center. And man has to take the responsibility to protect the rights of all the species that is within the web of the nature. So that's how it works. So that shift has to take place, because everything depends here on the earth, the nature. If that is whether it's a food, whether it's a water, and everything, because without which we humans cannot survive. So that is why it's important, anthropocentrism to ecocentrism. The center the paradigm shift has to change. Okay, and also humans have to be responsible in order to protect the rights. Okay, because the Earth University is located at Navadanya, a biodiversity farm. We did talk about Navadanya farm. The varieties of seeds seed banks were opened, and the number of varieties of rice, wheats are grown. We did talk about earlier about Navadanya farm. So there they practice Earth democracy. What is Earth democracy? Earth University teaches Earth democracy, right? So this is where she started. Earth University is located at Navadanya. A biodiversity farm, participants learn to work within living seeds, living soil and the web of life. So they do not consider whether a soil or seed as a raw material or a dead matter. They do consider. That is what Earth democracy in Navadanya farm teaches, which is founded by, again, Vandana Shiva. We did talk about it. So they talk about living soil, they talk about living seed. Can you see how the paradigm shift is slowly taking place, and what they teach in Earth democracy? Because they have to treat them as equal to other species on the earth, nature, whether it's a soil, whether it's a seed, whether it's a plant. Participants include farmers, school children and people from across the world. The two of our most popular courses, A to Z of organic farming and agroecology, and Gandhi and globalization. So remember these important courses, because they would ask you for 2 mark or 4 mark question. This will be asked, what are the most important courses that are taught in Navadanya form? So the two of most popular courses, and all their school children come and take training there, farmers take training there in the farm. That is the whole purpose why it was founded, to teach Earth democracy, right? So what are the two important programs, courses that are taught? The A to Z of organic farming and agroecology, that was taught, that was the course, and Gandhi and globalization. So this is Earth University. Just like we have for educational so many universities and what they do, the different courses are taught. So in Navadanya form, it's Earth Democracy was founded by Vandana Shiva. So there they teach a lot of courses. So out of which these two are very popular courses. And who are the participants? It could be farmers, farmers across the different locations. They come and take part in it, learn and go and replicate the same biodiversity at whatever they have learned in their own form. So that's the whole idea. School children, again, today we have heard about agricultural universities, right? So that's long back, long ago, Navadanya form was the pioneer of, we can say, which is started. The next one, Poetry of the Forest, that we will do it in the next session. Thank you.